Hey, all right, everyone. Well,
okay.
you said that Jesus.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to everybody's favorite Dota 2 podcast, Theorycraft Thursday. We, of course, myself being Ursinity, my co-host being Proud, a little proud.
I'm still mad.
That's okay, be mad. So we, of course, everybody's favorite patch review podcast. Today, we're reviewing Dota 2 patch 8.62. Of course, we had two new hero releases here. Who are the new heroes, Proud?
There's Sky Dancer, which is the int mid, and Terius Prince, who is a kind of like weird agi offlaner. And they both they're very kind of specialized in what they do. I've been playing around on like test client with Terius a lot, and he seems like he's really good at taking the third meta Roshan that they added in like 8.2, I think it was.
Yeah, the one that drops the rapier.
Yeah, and then you have Sky Dancer, who actually is very strong with the rapier because she has these weird. It's kind of like Fury swipes, but it's actually more like Crystal Maiden's aura. And so that works really well with the rapier, and she's very good at securing. When Dire gets the first Roshan mixed with the sub Roshan on the fourth Rosh pit, that when it spawns there at 16:35, and then when she gets those, when the Dire gets those two, then they try to take your ancient through underdoor protection, and Sky Dancer, once you have this sort of Fury swipe aura through the rapier that you got from the third meta Roshan, you can kind of defend against that every time. So you kind of utilize this really easy timing with Terius Prince to take down the Roshan very quickly, and then Sky Dancer kind of like Astral Blinks in with the Astral Blink Dagger, the kind of upgrade that you get from Blink Dagger, and then she can just pick that up, and the game gets pretty easy from there. You just need to worry about subjective late game, because once you get into that and the council comes into consideration, a lot of people aren't very into Sky Dancer and think it's a little unbalanced because that strat is like extremely strong. So you kind of need to go through the tribunal to see whether or not they will actually give you the win if you reach subjective late game. So you ideally want to play it with a strong pushing team, maybe a Shadow Shaman. He gets wards at level 1. I think that was 792. So as long as you get level 1 wards and you keep trying to push and you get down their tier 7 tower by about 39.2 minutes, then you're pretty good to finish before 87 minutes, which is when subjective late game is. It's 2 minutes later than it was last patch because it was too easy to end before 90. So now. If you do get a good hero like Shadow Shaman with level 1 wards, then you do get that Rosh, you defend your ancient through underdoor protection. It's like actually a very linear strategy, and it's kind of interesting. The two heroes were built to play together. I think there's a lot of synergy in the game, but normally a hero is built to synergize with 7 other heroes, because a team is not just 2 heroes. We're up to 13 at this point. This patch was going to add another, but they were sticking with 13. I think there was some weird
embracing the battle
things.
royale mechanics that they've added since 8.0. Yeah,
a lot of the looting and like the rapiers and stuff. It's been a great direction, honestly, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean they've been good. I've been screwing with them a lot. But that's kind of just on the test server that we have. That was kind of gifted to us when we made our new brand. But I feel like we should talk about 7.0. Like, what the fuck patch are these people playing still? 7.06, I think?
Yeah, 7.06, I believe. Everybody's pining for 7.07. It's a really dark time, actually.
7.07 sucked, too. God. I mean, I really, it's difficult to play Dota before 8.0. Like, there's only one Rosh in the game, and there's 5 heroes, and it's just, like, so basic.
It's very linear.
Such a fucking simple game. Yeah, anyway. We can talk about that, though. It's fine.
So, on that note, let's talk about, I suppose, as Greg would say, the elf in the room. That was like 4 minutes. It was good. You impressed me,
that wasn't too long. Okay, yeah,
I was getting ready to chime in with like additional like midnight cycles and lunar cycles for different night times. But I was like, man, Prad's got this. He's got this on lock.
You push on the winter solstice. I would love that shit.
Yeah.
Wait till a holiday and then break the Christmas truce and kill the Radiant.
You go for a culture victory.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Shen enables a religious victory. Yeah, no, this would be good. Man, we need to fucking make this game. It's great.
Yeah, that's like a Civ mod.
Yeah,
so obviously Tuesday, or I suppose Monday evening, Scythe has made his announcement regarding how .p is changing and morphing and like a phoenix dying and then rising from its ashes.
Or like a ghost.
Not really like a phoenix at all.
Or like a spirit.
Yeah, maybe like 4 of them even.
Yeah, because it's thick.
Yeah, or like the 4th one. Like the first 3 die, and then the 4th is the important one. So while we're making jokes and whatnot, in all seriousness, we are going to be rebranding as 4th Spirit. Myself, Proud, and B-Dub. Cyphus is taking a break and leaving for the moment, and we will be, at the very least, continuing on the Tuesday shows and the Thursday shows, just like we have every week. We're going to be making some small alterations to the Tuesday show. Unfortunately, Peachy is very busy with Desolades and with her job and with her potential job search and whatnot, so she's not going to be on as a regular host, although she'll probably be on it as a guest. Same thing with Cyphus. He may guest in the future. Yeah, so you're going to get all the same content you're already getting. You're just going to get extra stuff. We're going to have a lot more creative control now. Fortunately, we have reached a deal with a sponsor that you guys will know about later, and you guys are going to get all the same content on all the same feeds. So if you're subscribed to .p now, you don't have to go elsewhere. You don't have to find us on some other platform, other than like a few things that can't be rebranded like YouTube. But in general, you're going to find our podcasts, which is obviously our primary thing, on our right where they always were. They're going to be coming right to you if you were subbed to .p. It's just going to be coming to you as 4th Spirit instead. So yeah, it's more of the same, and then a lot of new stuff that we're very excited to do. We're excited. Obviously, change is scary and all that, and we would have loved to keep Cyphus on as a host.
Steal your hearts, young ones. The day will break soon.
I thought you meant steal like STEAL, and I was like, I don't know what angle he's going for here.
You would never steal a heart unless you were very cute, and then you can steal mine.
So yeah, I mean, we're trying to make this as easy as humanly possible for everybody, and fortunately, we're able to do that. Thankfully,
yeah. It was a fucking headache before this happened. Swear to fucking God, it was a disaster. But man, ducks. Like, have you ever seen a row of ducks? Because that's the kind of situation we're in. They're all in a row. It's great.
Finally, at long last.
It's a real fucking row of ducks kind of deal.
Our ducks were far aflong until like the last few hours even.
They were scattered, I'll be honest. It was a scattered duck situation.
It's funny because I was talking to everybody in Discord and they're like, oh man, it's so hectic, and like, oh, it's something else. Like, you don't know the half of it, or like a third of it, or a quarter of it. It's been busy, but it's been fun. And we're all looking forward to it.
A lot of very whatever. Go on, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, so I mean, grand scheme of things, our content is not changing. Unfortunately, we're losing the Monday show since both the hosts are not with us anymore. But we'll be making new casual content in the future. We don't want to bite off more than we can chew, so we're going to be obviously doing the 7.07 patch notes when they come out. That's going to be a big deal. Then we're going to be continuing Tuesdays and Thursdays, making minor changes to Tuesday to fit the single what's called teachling that we currently have. Then we may be adding more. We're still workshopping some ideas. And yeah, we're basically, we're using all that we've learned working with .p for the last couple of years, and just, trying to make better content, more fun stuff. So it should be good.
There was one show that, email us at show@fourthspirit.com that I was thinking of, where it's, just so, if we're only 2 shows, there's a bit of a break, so I didn't want to leave everyone down. So I was thinking I do a show, and it's 5 minutes, 1 minute, or the first 2 minutes, I'm making fart sound on my armpit, and then the 3rd minute, I explain a build, and then the 4th minute, I kind of just clap my hands a lot.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about us having creative control is that I can say absolutely not proud. That sounds like a terrible idea.
Yeah, when before we would need,
Cyphus we need like a council of people to all commiserate and say, "Oh, I don't know."
Side, because Growdy loves me, and he was just like, "I actually really like Proud's armpit fart sounds." And then he's not too into the clapping. Yeah, and then there's a big clapping fan base that I have actually accumulated from my ASMR clapping videos. So yeah, I could probably get that, and it's like, I don't know, but yeah, it's good that I can just be shut down immediately now. Yeah. I guess.
Basically. So yeah, look forward to more good content. Don't worry about, we're not taking a week off. Nothing is changing. We're the same old .p. We just have a new name and a much, not to boast, and I'm sure the graphic designer that long time ago made the .p logo does not listen to the show.
Fuck
the
em.
new logo B-Dub made is amazing, and we're thrilled. Well, like
ghosts.
Yeah, we're thrilled. It's gonna be very fun. So hopefully everybody stays along for the ride, and it'll be fun. I don't think we need to talk any more about it. Scythe has covered most of it.
We need to talk anymore at all. I think we can end it. I think we're good.
End of the show. Goodbye, everybody.
We're all announcements this
if you have any questions, you can DM us or you can talk to us on Twitter or wherever. New website's fourthspirit.com. Twitter, Fourth Spirit. Although, don't follow that yet because we're actually rebranding the
we'll
Twitter.
have if you're following the .p Twitter, you'll have our Twitter. And if you're listening to this and you don't have the .p Twitter, I don't feel like that's a large demographic we need to really address. Yeah. But I do need to have a meta say about them.
Yeah. The important thing is fourthspirit.com. But so
that's not even important, truthfully.
It's really not important either. Not yet, at least, because stuff isn't
Nothing
going up
is
there yet.
important if you get down to it.
That's fair. Yeah. What really matters in the grand scheme of things? You know what does matter actually, Proud? Our week in Dota. That's what matters.
Okay. Yeah, you stumped me there.
Our week in Dota is what matters deeply to everybody, myself included. Proud.
Yes, it is, dude.
Please enlighten me. How has your week in Dota been?
I'm going to tell you about my week in Dota. It's been good.
Good. That's a start.
So I've kind of distilled my essence into, I want to say maybe 6 heroes. I didn't really count it. I just said words.
Okay.
It's been, so for offlane, I've been playing Underlord and Doom, which are 2 heroes that I would not really recommend people play in pubs because that's what, like, I'm like, okay, you're an offlaner, play someone with like team fight and like a blink AoE disable so your team doesn't totally lack that.
Yeah.
But I'm a fucking piece of shit, so I just don't follow my own advice. I just don't. No, I'm just like, I want to play Doom. I'm tired of fucking Earthshaker. I'm tired of Centaur because Centaur's been the offlaner I've been playing for like, I feel like there really hasn't been a patch since 7.0. You know what I mean? Like, there hasn't really been a change.
Yeah, I mean, there's been hero changes, but the metagame has felt very similar regardless of the hero changes. I think I would agree with that.
Halfway into, this basically 9 months, 10 months expanse, Sven got good again. And that's really the main change that happened. For me, the only difference from like 10 months ago to now is that I can play Sven. But yeah, it hasn't really been too different. And so I'm tired of Centaur, man. I've been a Centaur boy for a long time. But Doom is like, I'm allowed to play Doom again. And I love Doom. You know that. So I've been playing Doom. Underlord, also very fun. It was one of the heroes we're going to play today. Mid, of course I play Necrophos. You shitting me? I want free wins. I want MMR. Like, fair. This is the time to do it. I'm an unrepentant shitbag. And then, like, if it's not Necro, I'll do an Arc Warden or an OD or something. But for the most part, if I play mid, it's because a Necro wasn't banned, and I'm like, okay, first pick, I got it. And then carries, Monkey Man, Svenerbean. I've been playing a lot of Sven recently, actually, because he's just like, like, you get shit on, yeah, but once you hit that Sven game, the end game, but you SV and then end game, you just, like, get crits and people die and you win. So, whatever. Yeah. That's been very fun for me. And then a support, Shadow Shaman Jakiro and Lich, because sometimes, my mid is 6k, and I'm like, I can't help you with anything besides Lich, because I'm going to die to their 6k mid, because I'm a fucking bad support. So I just play Lich and give him Frost Armor. I'm like, okay, you're good. Yeah, Bloodseeker too is still a thing. And I've been playing a little bit of Zeus after, that game that was bad, but it was fun. But that's what I've been playing, man. Just those heroes. Doom Underlord, Sven Monkey Blood, Necro, Jakiro, and, Shadow Shaman and Lich. And then the 4 I play is mostly Slardar.
Yeah.
That's what I've been playing, dude. It's been going good. Real winner on my front.
Yeah, my week in Dota was...
Wait, are you in Dota right now?
I'm not in Dota right now. I have my Dota buff profile.
Man, if you looked at my Pentagon, I don't think my thing has ever been this close to max supporting. I have a 8.78 on supporting.
I'm impressed.
You fucking believe that? Yeah, I'm a new boy. Yeah.
My week in Dota was cut short because Shadow of Mordor came out, and I've been playing a lot of that. So I think I didn't play Dota for like two days straight, and then I played like one game on the third day. And it is amazing, as I'm sure everybody knows, it is amazing how much worse you get at Dota after just taking like a couple days off. Like, I've been grinding up my my Smurf so that I can actually have a practice account, and I just straight up fed in 3 games. Like I was just terrible. Like you could not tell the difference between me and any like random like 3K player. And it was just abysmal. And it was all because I took like 2.5 days off of Dota. Like that's how much of a difference it made. And then, you know, once I got over the fact that I fed in 3 games like a dingus, I then, you know, was fine. But I
mean, if I sleep for 8 hours and then go play, I'm fucking shit for the first 10 minutes of every game. So yeah.
Yeah. So I've been slowly doing that. I mean, I've been honestly, it's mind numbing. I find it incredibly boring, and I now realize why everybody that boosts accounts or that isn't a legitimate Smurf is just like spams mid, is because I can basically guarantee if I play mid, I will win 80% of my games. But I don't like doing that. It's not fun. It's also kind of just like a jerk move. So I haven't been doing that. I played mostly offlaner support, and I still am, obviously I maintain like a 75% win rate ballpark, but it is just incredibly boring. So I've been having fun playing offlane Earthshaker specifically, and just like waiting for the new patch. Honestly, like I last week I was enjoying Dota again. I played a ton of Dota before last week's show. This week's show though, I like had a ton of fun with Shadow of Mordor, and then I went back to play Dota. I was bad at it for like 3 games. Then I just like slowly just like listened to music or podcasts and just like played on this account to slowly get it to a point where it's useful to me as a practice account. And boy,
well, it's good.
Yeah, but I mean, that being said, I did play a bunch of heroes I never play. Like I played an offlane Abaddon game that was super fun. I played an offlane.
He's still decent. You got a good lane for it.
Yeah, and I played an offlane Bloodseeker game by accident.
Nice.
I thought we were gonna duo lane because some guy from the get-go.
Will you blood rage their ranged creep so it pushes towards you?
I didn't do that. No, I just fed 3 kills and then I farmed a bunch and got a radiance at like 14 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, that sounds like the hero.
The thing about Bloodseeker offlane was, obviously I wouldn't ever do that in a normal situation, but from the get-go, draft starts, right? We're in draft screen. This guy, all caps, starts yelling. He says, "Hey guys, do you know what time it is? It's Techies time. I'm going to play Techies. It's going to be great." And I was like, you know, whatever. I've resigned my fate. You know, I deserve this cosmically. And so I'm like, right, you're going to play Techies. We'll aggro duo. You play Techies, I play Bloodseeker. It'll be fine. And then, which I've never encountered this any other Techies player that comes into a pub like that. He's like, Techies isn't the right pick this game. I'm going to pick something else and pick like Spear Breaker or whatever, like a legitimately good pick.
That's too bad. Yeah.
And I was like, this is not in character for somebody that enters a draft screen and starts yelling about their love of Techies.
It's like breaking the fourth wall. Like you can't. That's
you broke character.
Yeah, you broke character in the middle of a fucking play.
And so instead of being an aggro duo with the Techies, I was just a Bloodseeker that was just like feeding kills. They had a really good kill lane too, and they just camped me, and it was very disappointing. And we ended up winning that game fine because they committed all of their resources to killing an offlane Bloodseeker for some ungodly reason. But
have you ever looked at binder clips, like their faces? Like you look at the side of them. They're fucking funny, dude.
That's good to know. I'm sure that'll become useful to me in the future.
Yeah, like the little, where it like loops around where the silver metal part comes in. There's like the eyes and the black triangle is the mouth. It's fucking funny. I highly recommend checking that out sometime.
I will absolutely do so.
It's like Meat from fucking Muppets.
I never watched Muppets as a kid. I legitimately have never watched Muppets in my life.
The scientist guy goes like, or something like that. I don't really remember. He says Meep a lot. No, the scientists. Those are different professions. There's the Swedish chef.
They're pretty close.
There's a scientist that's like a tube. He is a tube, and he goes or some shit like that.
I've also gotten real deep in the K-drama hole, so that's eaten into my Dota time even more.
I don't want to hear about it.
Oh man, dude, I've been watching Temperature of Love and Hospital Ship.
Is it warm or cold?
No, it's pretty like it fluctuates. It fluctuates greatly. I was about to make a really bad joke.
Okay.
As opposed to my normal bad jokes. It's great. It's about a chef and a writer. Hospital Ship is about a hospital that's also a boat. Oh boy.
Holy shit, dude.
It's quite the concept. But yeah, so I've not played a ton of Dota. I've only played like, I don't know, what is this, like 10 games. And yeah, so let's hop into our stuff. I'm all excited to play Dota now though after our conversation. And the oncoming
About
7.07.
Terios Prince or
Yeah, that specifically. I can't wait to go into the game and pick Nightwalker or whatever.
Sky Dancer. Jesus Christ.
Sky Dancer, my favorite.
Sky Dancer and Terios
Flash dance
Prince.
enthusiast. Okay, so let's talk about our segments, shall we? So our segment's it's going to be connected to the heroes we're going to be playing later. It's going to be about understanding what your team wants to do and how you should optimize to do that best. Specifically in hero choices in the draft screen, but also this applies more loosely to your gameplay and also in a major way item choices later on. So Proud, why don't you introduce this segment?
I mean, mostly I was thinking of it in terms of item builds, because I feel like in pubs you kind of end up with the heroes you end up with, and you don't have a great amount of control over it.
That's fair.
But I mean, if you're fourth or fifth pick, then you're like, oh, okay, they have like a tanker and an anti-mage. Let's try to not go to 40 minutes. Let's try to end before they have that, or get a huge advantage before 40 minutes or some shit like that. You want to. Obviously that's pretty intuitive. Or, we have our support duo is, we don't even have a 4. We have Shadow Shaman Jakiro for some fucking reason. And our safe laner is Clinks, and our mid is like a Pugna or something like, okay, we're going to push. I'm going to play a hero that, can counter initiate or enable us to, push safely and shit like that. Like, it's not entirely super interesting as a topic. It's fine. But I mostly wanted to talk about, like, once you get in a game and you have an idea of what your team wants to do, how to mold whatever hero that you were playing to do that certain thing. I had a game recently where we had a lone druid who didn't swap me lone druid, that fucking idiot. And
kids these days.
Yeah, and at first we were like, oh, let's end early, and that's why he picked Lone Druid, which was not the play. And at some point we realized, like, okay, we're not winning the early game, we're not going to end early. So that's when our team kind of said, all right, so we're not going to end early, but we didn't really solidify what we were going to do instead of that. And he went ahead and built 2 Midases, which was not the play, and then we lost, obviously.
Yikes. That's a firm yikes.
About 40 minutes, and I think he got his Radiance at about 35, which is not the optimal Radiance timing, but that's another fucking story altogether. Anyway, there are some situations where you try to adjust to the direction you think your team is going, and you maybe over-adjust, or you actually just have no fucking idea how to get there. Like, if you're Monkey King, and you only know how to do they'll farm for 15 minutes, get a Battle Fury, farm for another 7 minutes, and then get a Battle Fury Echo, and then half of your Black King Bar or some shit like that. Then you're gonna have a real issue once you end up in a game where you have a Meepo on your team and everyone's just trying to end the game before Meepo falls off, and then you're sitting there farming a fucking Battle Fury. No, dude, get your Echo Saber and just go kill everyone. Just go kill humans. It's human killing time. No farming. It's we're not a hunter. We're not a gatherers. What's that? We're not a farming community. We're hunter gatherers now. You got to go hunt and gather.
Yeah.
And farm. Fuck you.
Yeah. Don't poison us by picking the wrong berries.
Yeah, please don't pick the wrong berries. That's very bad. That's like when you stack the Ancients when no one can take a stack of Ancients.
Exactly.
Did you really just poison us all with the berries? Yeah, it's unfortunate. Now the berries kill us. We can't farm this anymore.
Yeah. And then we don't have a hunter anymore. We just have a bunch of gatherers.
Yeah, then there's nothing. There's just dragons. You can't gather dragons. I've tried.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's some shit, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult because I feel like a lot of people in pubs run into this issue where you independently have an idea all right, my team is going to do X. My team is good at X and needs to do, X. But then your team does not act in accordance, right? You say, all right, my team theoretically, right, is built to push, right? We have a Nature's Prophet, and we have a mid Venomancer, and we have a safe lane that's Bristleback, and we have some aggressive supports that are roaming around winning all the lanes. And then it hits 18 minutes and you've taken 1 tier 1, but you're really not pushing your advantage. And your
Nature's Prophet is just farming somewhere, and your Shadow Shaman is just never, you say, oh, let's push this tower, and then just no one shows up. You're
yeah, exactly.
That's not going to happen.
When that happens, which is a super common situation regardless of MMR, how do you pivot, basically? Do you part of this is you have to
think
feel it
the
out.
main thing is not to overcompensate, or rather not to like overly change off of what your hero is best at to fit this new direction of the game that you probably aren't even experienced with. Like the dude who built 2 Midases on Lone Druid, he was convinced that the way he was going to win the game was by 12 slot LD. I can guarantee you this guy has never been at 12 slot LD. I have. It is not impressive. It is not going to win a game. It is bad.
Not
it
according to Twitch clips of Eternal Envy.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, he was like, oh, I was going to get 12 slot LD and backdoor all their ancients. And then we were like, how do you think we're going to get to that situation when you get your Radiance at 35 minutes? Like, we're going to lose before that happens. You don't get to 12 slot LD by going double Midas and just like letting us lose the entire game. Anyway, but the point is, like, you don't want to do something like that. Like, oh, okay, we're not going to win the early game, so I'm going to, play towards this ultra late game. But in order to do that, I just sacrificed my early game, my mid game, and my mid late game to get there. So like in trying to play to this new situation that I'm not entirely comfortable with, I fucked up every other part of that, and now my path to get to this situation that I'm envisioning in my mind is not even there's not even a path there anymore. Something similar would be like if you think that you're gonna 5-man, and you just hang around with your team all the time. Like, even when there's some there's 4 people farming the same lane and you're not actively like getting the tower pushed. And yes, you need to 5-man, but if just like no shit is happening, kind of what would be better for you is to not 5-man with them, farm a bunch of stuff, and then just as soon as it looks like, trouble's a brewing, then you TP to it. And then if nothing happens for 40 seconds, and be like, all right, I got to go farm. I'm going to split push up here, and then let's try again once they go to react to my split pushing. Like that sort of thing. Like you can't really deviate too much off of what your hero is good at. Because the more weird positions you put yourself in and the more you change up your build to something you're not entirely comfortable with, it doesn't matter if you're playing to what your team quote-unquote should be doing, because you're just going to play bad. You're just going to not do it right. The more you try to change stuff to stuff you're not comfortable with, it's good for learning and growing. Like now this guy is probably not going to go double Midas again for the rest of his fucking life because people were not happy.
Yeah.
But like maybe just don't find yourself in that situation in the first place.
Yeah, that makes sense. So to go a little more specific into it, we're going to be playing Underlord and Slardar today. Can you talk a little bit about Underlord specific to this segment, right? Because the idea for this segment was off of like, hey, we're playing Underlord. What would it be a good segment with Underlord? Yeah,
so this is similar to how we were talking about with Doom and kind of his first 2, I guess, medium-sized objects on Tuesday. Like he can go Blade Mail or Vlad's or Medallion and, various other things like that. Drums, of course. But like those are all highly dependent on what your team is going to do. Underlord is pretty similar. Like normally this hero wants Greaves, but Greaves is, it's a piecemeal kind of deal. That rhymed. You get your Arcanes and your Mech, and then you combine them into one, which like is incredibly slot efficient. So you kind of have space to do some other shit on Underlord before you get the Greaves finished up. And going from Mana Boots Mech to Greaves isn't like quite like it's very good, but it's not exactly like what you want to spend 1,600 gold on before you like have this like need the slots for it. So like if you are in a game where you could use another item, like my favorite item to get on Underlord when I have the space to is Helm of the Dominator. Like that item is so fucking good on Underlord. Helm of the Dominator, holy shit. Not only does he actually do well with the attack speed, it's not like he gets attack speed for himself. It's like it's for his team, but also helps him like after a kill happens, all right, he's a fucking right clicker now. Yeah. All these creeps that you could like his W is so fucking good if you have another disable to make it proc twice, and then someone sits in your queue for a year and a half, and like you get a centaur or something, bam, you're an Underlord with a stun. Wild fucking good. You get the little satyr, you put your W down, it procs, they get you're trapped, and then you walk that little satyr boy over, and then he shimmers his little white coat, and he goes like, ah! And then they're purged, and they walk very slowly, and then like they got again, and they've been in your queue, your firestorm or whatever the whole time, and they're just dead because that move's overpowered as hell.
Yeah, and you farm it super fast through your just hero.
Yeah, You farm fast, and it makes you farm faster too. Like it's what is it, 25 attack speed in an aura. I think it's 15 in the aura, 10 on the item. Like it's just like Helm of the Dominator is a really good aura item. There's just like no way to really fit it in to most heroes. But offlaners who don't need blink, it's very good for them. It's like it's a bit cheaper than blink, so it fits in that kind of position very well. And it's like it's easier to manage than mech. Like mech costs a good amount of mana, and you can go like arcane boots and then Helm of the Dominator. And yeah, you don't have the mech heal, but Helm of the Dominator is like what? How much regen is this? It's 10 health regen. Like that's crazy good. You will sustain any push with Helm of the Dominator. And yeah, like it helps, and it's good with like Slardar likes attack speed too. Obviously, if you're looking at your team and it isn't like a 5-man team, and they're not gonna if they're not going to get helped by you having an early Helm of the Dominator and like 5-manning with this aura, or they're not going to be able to take advantage of your ability to gank with creeps combined with your W early on, then maybe don't go for the Helm of the Dominator if it looks like you're going to go for like some 20-minute, 23-minute timing instead of like a 14-minute timing or something like that.
Yeah.
Then maybe just go for the mech and Greaves and that sort of thing.
Well, so it's funny, but just in this conversation, it got me thinking. A lot of times when we talk about situational items, we think very specifically about countering enemies. But this segment specifically in this mentality is more about thinking, rather than countering enemies, it's about working with your own team, right?
Yeah, and that's a good point.
It's the difference between optimization with your allies and the heroes and how they're going to work out, and countering the enemy play style, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Another factor of this is if you're like some sort of carry or something, or some kind of core that's going to want to farm at all costs, and you're playing with a team that wants to 5-man. One thing you might say, like, oh, maybe I want travels to get there whenever I want. But I would say I actually had a huge issue with this. I was just like never where my team wanted me to be. I was playing like Sven or something, and they'd always be fighting somewhere, and I'm like, I'm slow, like I can't get there. But as soon as I got my blink, it was easy. So I was like, okay, I think it was like Necrophos one game. Anyway, so like the next game I played Queen of Pain, and I could just blink everywhere, and I was like, holy shit! If I can just get places, I can do whatever I want. Like with a lot of cores, I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna get mobility. Like one of the reasons I play Monkey King a lot is I can just fucking leap and jump, and I'm where I need to be. So if you notice your team is 5-manning a lot and you need to do a lot of farming away from your team because they're taking all the farm wherever they are as 4, like prioritize some move speed. Or like get your blink dagger one item earlier or something. Like if you need to be 5-manning as a Sven, like that hero needs to fucking farm. Like maybe instead of mask, echo, blink, go like mask, blink, and then echo. Change the order up a little bit just so you can get where you need to be. It's so important to know what your team is going to want to be doing, and playing in a way that you aren't just completely perpendicular to the direction that they're trying to go. And it's also super important that you don't fuck up your build too much. Like if you need to do that with Sven, instead of, oh, I'm just going to like skip echo and I'm going to go like blink 4 stuff. Like, no, just change the order of, 2 of your items that are right next to each other around. And then like you didn't change too much. You're still Sven. Like maybe get a Sage's Mask if you really need the mana regen to be comfortable. But, just get the blink earlier. Or if you're Underlord and, oh, we need to 5-man and we need like something cool before I have enough mana to sustain like a mech or something. Okay, I'm just gonna like, instead of finishing a like a blade mail or something before mech, or finishing I don't know, like what's like a small item, like I don't fucking know, what does this hero even get? Instead of getting like a Windlace or an Orb of Venom or a Raindrop or something, instead I'm just gonna like delay my mech a little bit and get this Helm of the Dominator up. Just shit like that, shit like that.
Yeah, no, it
instead
makes
of a
sense.
Hood, get a Dom, whatever.
Dude, Hood's the best. Hood's the bomb.
Hood is good.
Hood is godly strong. All right.
I love Dom though. This was really just an excuse for me to play Underlord with Dom because I love it.
Yeah, I'm interested to see it. Dom you so rarely see, and it's kind of like certain heroes used to be and certain items are still, is that it's not necessarily that the item is bad, it's that heroes that used to build the item can't build it anymore because there are better alternatives. Like Mask of Madness is just so absurdly good. And like the heroes that do build it are few and far between, or they can't farm it. Like remember like 5s like Vengeful Spirit and Crystal Maiden were getting it like a few patches ago.
every team needs one Helm of the Dominator because the aura is just too good.
Yeah, and it was just like you build it piecemeal and it's super efficient and all that, and it has great stats. And then it got nerfed and nerfed and nerfed. And it's like, yeah, it's still not a bad item of those heroes. It's just if you're gonna spend the money, you may as well have like a Force Staff or a Glimmer Cape.
Yeah,
same thing with
like No Tail gets it on Juggernaut every so often, and when he does, it's when they're doing this total 5-mana kind of style. And that's just like, okay, his team is going to do 5-mana stuff. He's not going to have mana to Healing Word all the time, or after a team fight, he's using Healing Word in a team fight. They win the team fight, but everyone's at 20 health. They need something, because Healing Word's a minute long cooldown. That's a long time in Dota. So getting the extra regen from the Helm of the Dominator on everyone is like really fucking good, and giving his whole team, attack speed is really good.
And the Purple Satyr for the plus 8 HP regen.
Yeah, dude, that's some real shit. Honestly,
it's actually unreal.
I love it.
Yeah. Playing offlane like Enchantress and having that with you, or like having a Chen give you a creep momentarily, it's like, wow, I'm suddenly have a Tango running all the time.
Yeah, like Doom when you eat the Satyr, you're just like,
it's like, oh, okay, now you can't kill me ever.
I love this creep. Like that's what he says when he gets it.
I wouldn't know. So let's talk a little bit about
Korean voices.
About our hero combo. Yeah, I have Korean voices except for like Monkey King and some Arcanas. And any new stuff that they put out that they never bothered voicing. So let's talk a bit about why we're picking Underlord Slardar. We've talked about this theory before, but it's a good example of draft-wise how our segment works, right? In that you're building a draft around a team and rounding it out, right? It's more of a good example of just a good draft rather than our segment specifically, now that I think about it.
Yeah,
but
it's kind of like the most perfect example of when one hero in a specific role is not providing what is typically expected of them, shouldering that or shifting that burden onto another hero in a different role, and like them covering for that weakness in your team.
Yes, yeah. So Underlord is in the 3 role, of course. And he does not provide the blink initiation, nor does he provide a blink team fight type ability, right? That you generally expect to get from your offlaners, right?
Yeah, he's got 2 20-second cooldown abilities that are really good, but I mean, you can BKB out of his W, you can BKB out of his Q, you can Manta out of his W. Like, they're not hard lockdown that instantly wins a team fight. It's not Burrow Strike Epicenter, exactly. For sure.
Yeah, so he creates that hole essentially in your team, and of course, he provides other things to the team, which is why he's not like a completely worthless hero. But since he's not providing what the 3 generally is assumed to be providing, similarly, if you pick a 3 Bristleback, you're gonna have similar problems, right? You pick 3 Bristleback, sure, that's good. It has its advantages. Or a
Baden, like any of these kind of like heroes that aren't a hero with a blink and a stun, then you need to find that elsewhere on your team.
Exactly. And so the reason why we're picking 4 Slardar with it, or similarly, you could pick like, what's another good 4 that, 4 Kunkka, I don't mind.
Spirit Breaker is okay, but I wouldn't like Kunkka either, because like you don't have, Kunkka doesn't really initiate. He doesn't have immediate stun. So much as he like, he can catch someone and then like set up for it, but it's not like, oh boom, someone's dead and they couldn't TP react to it. It's like, I X them and then I start my torrent, and then if a TP starts immediately, like it'll get done when they're at half health, and then maybe they'll, Dazzle will grave them or some shit.
Yeah. So so
it's like besides
Earthshaker.
Earth Spirit for sure. Earthshaker, I would say is another very similar hero. I'm trying to think like other 4s that have like really solid blink stun initiate kind of things.
Yeah, Tusk not really.
No, not really. It's honestly mostly those few heroes. I think Clockwork is pretty good in that slot. Not perfect. Like I wouldn't do that with Underlord, but if I had Doom Clockwork is totally fine.
Yeah, that sounds
Clockwork
good.
can kind of do like the AoE disable-y kind of thing for non-specific targets, and the person who has the BKB that you need to deal with, you can have Doom do that, or a 5 with a single target disable that can manage that just fine.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so that's why we're picking these 2 heroes together. Let's talk a little bit about Slardar, or actually, let's continue on the Underlord train, since we already talked about him quite a bit. So you're talking about how much you like HOD. What is your... So he's a lane dominator in like a traditional sense. Like he's just very difficult to play against once he has a couple levels in Firestorm. Like he's super hard pushing, he's hard farming. He has a lot of strength, he's just has a lot of health. Yeah, he has a lot of.
As it's known.
Is his base regen good? I honestly don't know. I imagine it's good.
I don't know. I think it's fine.
What are your starting items on him? I assume it's just like generic offlane starting items, some combination of like regen plus stout shield or PMS.
If I know I'm going to go up, he has standard starting regen.
Okay.
Yeah, if I'm going up against a dual lane that doesn't look particularly scary, I'll do Poor Man's Shield and Tangos, and that's just because Atrophy Aura works so well with Atrophy Aura works great with damage block, because the lower someone's damage is, the more percentage of effectiveness I'm getting out of the Poor Man's Shield. Like if someone has 70 damage and I have a Poor Man's Shield, or rather, and I have Atrophy Aura, I'm only really going to cut off 10 damage from it, and then my Poor Man's Shield is only taking 20 off of that. So my Poor Man's Shield's only reducing the damage I'm taking by 33%. But if someone has 50 damage and I'm cutting 10% off that, they got 45, and then I'm doing the Poor Man's Shield, that's what that's called, yeah, and then Poor Man's Shielding off of that, I'm only taking 25 damage a hit, and that's not even a creep. So that's fucking awesome. Like if I can get someone's damage cut down to the point where they're just not hitting me, I don't need a ton of regen, I don't need a ton of mana. That lane is just mine. And it's really easy to last hit against people who have less damage than they think they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I get an easy lane, I'll definitely go Poor Man's Shield Tangos. And then, get my boots in lane, get, whatever in lane. Hopefully, I'll get my shrine at some point. Maybe I need to ship out something once we have Flying Courier, but I shouldn't need anything until then. But if the lane looks hard, then I'll do the max regen thing where I have Stout Shield and then Tango, Salve, Mango, Clarity. Just, every piece of, I'm a well-prepared explorer with everything needed to stay out in the wilderness, be Bear Grylls or whatever.
Yeah, so one of the common problems a lot of people, especially in lower Moors, have is they pick an offlaner like an Underlord, and then they have their 4 come with them, so they become XP deprived. Obviously, we're not planning on doing that. Like, Slardar Underlord is a good team comp, but is by no means a lane. What is your general advice for when that happens in a game? Obviously, you ask somebody, like, hey, can you leave? And sometimes they do leave. I've had this, again, because I've been playing offlane on this account, and people have been like, oh, like, I'm going to come with you. And I'm like, no, don't do that. Please don't.
I'm an offlaner. I'm made to not have you here.
Yeah. So in general, like, how much attention do you think Underlord needs? Like, you don't really have too much kill potential if I come there.
He's more of like an attrition kind of deal, and he only really he has breakpoints on a couple of his levels, right? Like Atrophy Aura, it was changed, so the damage, the main point of Atrophy Aura at level 1 is just that you get the extra damage when things die. It's only a 7% damage reduction, and then the next point of it is 18% damage reduction. So it jumps up by, what is that? Like
almost more than double. Like 125% or something.
Yeah, it's like 140 or something. Anyway, it's 140% better or some shit like that. The next level, and you get more duration on the creep kills or whatever.
Yeah.
So you're when you kill a unit, you have a 40-second duration now. So your damage goes from lane to lane at the second point, or rather from wave to wave. So like I'm never losing damage. I'm always like as soon as another wave comes, I'm still gonna be strong. But that's a second point in my passive. I still need a point in Pit of Malice. And I don't really want to just have 1 point in Firestorm, because like the burn HP doubles at the second level. The wave damage goes up by 15, which is substantial. Like that's really good too. So in general on Underlord, I want to be like 1-1-1, but if I can afford it, it would be cool to be like 1-0-2 and just get that second point in Atrophy Aura, and then I just own the lane. Like the carry's missing 20% of their damage, and I'm getting 5 more damage every time a creep gets killed, and that's persisting from wave to wave. The lane's just mine. I don't fucking need you at all. Like, don't come near. But as soon as like if I'm level 5 and I have like 2-1-2, I'm fucking good. Like my level 6 doesn't really matter. So any hero whose ultimate doesn't really matter, that's probably going to be counterbalanced by their other skills being good. So like Lone Druid's ultimate doesn't help you kill people really, but Entangle at level 5, like that's you go kill at level 5 because the other guy doesn't have, or the other person doesn't have their ultimate yet, and you have your power spike. So like my 5 is great. So as soon as I hit 5, I'd be like, yo, come over, man. I got some popcorn and movies and humans to murder, and that's our shit. We do that all the time back in the old days.
Of course.
So Yeah, so I mean that's when I'd want to do it, and that also should coincide pretty well with the shrine goes up if you're doing it well. Like maybe you hit level 5 at 6 minutes, and then you go and shrine with your 4, and then you both kill a bunch of motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And then you take that into like you just kind of owning their lane, their safe lane, and trying to take their tower. You have a TP yourself. You should have your ulti at some point. And your ulti, you can treat yourself a lot like Nature's Prophet, where you can TP somewhere and then TP to another place. So let's say I'm like defending my tower. I'm pushing all that stuff, kind of just owning the lane in general. Oh shit, a team fight's happening. And then I Dark Rift to like, the creeper. I TP to the tower where the team fight's happening. And then when that's done, I just TP back to my lane and I keep dominating it and I don't let their carry recover. So that's kind of how you want to play it. And when you combo it with the Slardar, basically, like, I'm just trying to make a ton of space on the map and be incredibly difficult to ignore. And then my Slardar can just, like, fight. Like, I'm attritioning all these people down. They're sitting at 70% health. And my Slardar pops up with a sprint. Like, bam, we get him. And also, if I'm just sitting in lane, like, they're not going to ward that shit up. They know where I am. It's not too crazy. It's just like, oh, okay, Underlord just, like, lives here. And we just know that's going to happen, and our supports just aren't going to go there. And then it's really easy for you to just sprint up and get a kill. And if I'm making all this space for you, you can get a Blink Dagger, which is great. Blink's good.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was just looking through a lot of the Underlords on Dota buff, and it's pretty common that they skip ult until like levels 9 or even 11 and 12. And
that's you want to do that.
Yeah, and it's just like you were saying how, like, I'm seeing a lot of people that get 2 points atrophy early, and then at level 6, they'll get their Pit of Malice point, stuff like that. It's nice to have that flexibility compared to a lot of heroes who are locked in, like, hey, I need my ult at 6, right?
Yeah. So I mean, your build is very flexible on Underlord, but I was saying if you're picking up this hero for one of the first times, you're probably not going to get damage out of Firestorm, and it's not spammable until you get your mana boots, and you're not going to get your mana boots until you have 2 points in atrophy aura, unless like you really know what you're doing. So if you're new to the hero, I would really recommend going like first point atrophy, second point maybe Firestorm just to zone people out, third point atrophy, and then once you have that, you should be able to dominate the lane. And then, get a point in Pit of Malice and, your second point in Firestorm by 5. But 2-1-2 at 5 is where you want to be, full stop. I would never not be 2-1-2 at 5, honestly.
Okay. All right. Sounds good to me. Okay. Yep. So, Slardar. Not rocket science. You build... So, like, your first starting items, he's not a 4 that goes Orb of Venom necessarily, right? We see a lot of 4s that just go Orb of Venom, right? You can eventually build an Orb of Venom, but you don't need that because you have Sprint. And you're generally not, like, it's not like you're a Night Stalker that's just walking in hitting people, right? You're generally going in for kills rather than harassing. So your starting items, ideally, I'm going to go, like, Boots Tango and then Courier, or, like, Boots Tango Ward or whatever. But more realistically, since it's a pub, I'm going to have to buy multiple support things, and I'll go maybe like Stout Shield, Tango.
Stout Shield? Who the fuck are you?
I like Stout Shield. Stout Shield's good.
Stout Shield? Are you shitting me?
Yeah,
on a 4?
Or maybe like Windlace.
Yeah,
Tango,
no, you're not going to go Stout Shield?
and a couple
Jesus
clarities.
Christ, Sam.
Stout Shield's nice. I like Stout Shield.
Dude, Stout Shield on a 4 is like a fucking, like, is like a 5 starting with a circlet. Like, what are you doing?
Stop flaming Gabe Gonzo.
Are you just tanking creeps? Is that what your hero does? No,
Sometimes
dude,
you are.
You need a Windlace. Like, the hero has sprint. You need a move speed item. That's the only way you do shit.
That's fair.
I mean, like maybe a Stout Shield on like. I mean, Monkey King goes Poor Man's Shield when you start with the D first, but don't start Stout Shield on a 4, guys. Don't do that.
Yeah, I was tainted because I was looking at Dota buff guides for like inspiration and to like recollect. Yeah. And the first guide I see is a guy playing roaming support at 7,000 MMR SEA, and he starts with a Stout Shield. And he gets a branch. Oh, he like is everything that Proud hates.
He just has no interest in ever walking up to anyone. He's probably jungling or some shit like.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and then you're going for Tranquil Boots right away, and then Blink ASAP. You're usually once you finish Tranquil Boots, I immediately buy another Windlace. And
yes, that's the play, dude.
Yeah, it's easy to forget that. I feel like I don't do it anymore, but for a while I was just like, oh, I finished my thing. I'm super fast. And I was like, oh, wait, I can stack another Windlace on this. This is wild. So, yeah.
And you're just abusing sprint. Like, if before you have your Blink Dagger, your only way to connect to people is sprint.
Yeah, and sprint's
that's a percentage move speed
increase.
Yeah,
exactly.
So if you just have a bunch of flat move speed, you're fucking golden.
Exactly. So yeah, it's a very linear. You know, you're looking for one item. You're looking for a blink dagger. You can go other things, of course, like post blink dagger. You know, you go medallion or force staff, or you know, really whatever is necessary. You should also get a wand, just you know, or at least a stick.
Or a stick.
Yeah, just because you know it's a good item. It turns out.
Well, I mean, sprint makes you take more damage, so maybe a raindrop. But just be careful that you're not like, you know, 10 minutes in and you're only 200 gold towards your blink, but you have, you know, 5 tiny items in your inventory and you don't even have space for a TP or something like that.
Yeah.
Just be careful. Maybe just go one, or, you know, finish your wand up or get a raindrop. Don't do both.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you feel about Talon, IT as it's known?
I think Talon, excuse me, I was looking at talents and I was like, oh, talents. Yeah. I think Talon sucks at the moment because of all the jungle changes. I think, let's see, who do I build Talon on still? I don't really jungle, so I guess I'm not a good example, but I would build it on like, I don't know, if I'm playing like 4 Earthshaker and I'm trying to jungle, I could build Talon so that you can kill the large centaur alongside the 2 baby centaurs.
Well, you know, you do extra with the hit off your enchant totem.
Well, yeah, but it's more about killing things evenly.
I get you.
But in general, yeah, I mean, you'd get it on like a dedicated jungler, like an LC. Treant? But I think Iron Talon just kind of sucks, because like, just rather than just blatantly just saying it's bad, the reason it's bad and the reason why we're not seeing it as frequently as we used to is because even though the item has not been significantly changed recently, the jungle itself has changed. So you basically you're getting less value.
I'm pretty sure it got a cooldown increase.
It did. Yeah, but like those like changes are less significant than the jungle changes itself.
I agree.
Yeah. The jungle changes, because I remember we were doing a patch notes review and I was like, this item was not nerfed enough, and then it turned out like actually the item was super nerfed because of the implications of the jungle changes. But so since the jungle is worth 50% of what it used to be, you are using a cooldown, let's see, right? And you are taking...
Not 50. That's a big number.
You're taking like 40% of the HP off of a creep, but that creep is now giving you half the XP that it used to, except you're not getting... Except the Iron Talon, you're not... the cooldown is not lower, right? So you're getting 50% of the XP from the usage, but you're not getting to use it more often. So therefore, the usage is just way, way worse because the dividends are just way less. So yeah, it sucks.
I mean, it's not quite 50%. It's like 20, but it feels like it.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like, cumulatively, it's a lot.
I get Quelling Blade on him, I will say, but that's because
I think Quell's good.
Yeah, but Iron Talon definitely overkill. I think if you're pubbing like on Slardar at like a lower level, you're gonna find a lot of times to just like, I'm just gonna kill a camp. I'm not gonna get a bunch of like cool roaming kills because I run in there and then my teammate backs up. Like, you know, if you're having issues and there's a lot of farm around, you get a Quelling Blade, and then you can jungle pretty easily with, you know, just like a Crush and your R or your ulti or whatever, and a Quelling Blade, like, not too hard. Yeah,
and you definitely need to ferry out a couple clarities on this hero. I mean,
for sure.
That applies to basically every hero, but Slardar is definitely one where you think like, oh man, I don't use that much mana. Like, Sprint is free and Crush is pretty cheap, but it turns out it's 80, actually not. Yeah,
and you're spamming Corrosive Haze like every 5 seconds. It gets expensive.
Absolutely. All right, so let's hop into the game, shall we? Then we will be back after the game. You can watch the VODs on youtube.com/.ptv1. That is not transferred over yet, but eventually we will have to do something about that. And that's about it. So yeah, we'll see you on the flip side.
We will do just that. I have to end this.
Right. Hello, everybody. We are back. We've just completed our game. It was, let's see. I can't remember who won streak or lose. I think we won last week, but we lost the week before, so there's no streak.
That was Zeus last week, right? Because we lost that one.
Oh, yeah. We definitely lost that one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this was a loss, but it was not a terrible game. You had fun. I had fun.
I had plenty of fun. Yeah. My hero is fucking awesome.
Yeah. Our teammates bickered basically the entire game. So
yes,
that's his life. This was I feel like we used to get a lot more 3+2s, and now we've been getting solo 2-stack. Like,
well, at this point, who knows 2 other people that want to play this patch?
That's true. it's weird to me. I haven't really thought about that, but I feel like the last like maybe 5 weeks or so, we've always been solo plus us.
Yeah.
Huh. Anyway. Anyway, okay, so team comps. The enemy team, they randomed a offlane, or no, they had a first pick Spirit Breaker, then they randomed a Riki, so it ended up being an offlane Spirit Breaker, roaming Riki. They had a mid lane Shadow Fiend. They had a safe lane, dual lane of Rubik and Anti-Mage. Our team had a safe lane, dual lane of Sand King as we kind of had 2 4s, which is awkward, similar to the other team. Sand King and PL. We had a mid lane Death Prophet. We had myself roaming on Slardar. I spent most of my time shifting between... Actually, I'd say it's a fairly even split between the 3 lanes.
Yeah, I would say so.
And we had an offlane Underlord, of course. So let's talk about it just from like an early game perspective. How did your lane go? Because AM lanes tend to be different than other carry lanes.
Yeah. So my lane was great, honestly. The first little, like as soon as I got in there, I knew it looked like they had 2 4s. So I'm like, this lane's going to be easy. And Riki doesn't, he doesn't have like a lot of spell damage. It's just him, scraping at your butt. And Poor Man's Shield's pretty good against that. And Rubik doesn't deal a lot of damage, and Anti-Mage doesn't do spell damage either. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to get a Poor Man's Shield and Tangos and just, own the lane. So I started Poor Man's Shield Tango, and I kind of lost the opening exchanges a little bit. But like, I was just punching them back, and it was going pretty well. The Anti-Mage didn't have a Poor Man's Shield start either, which was incredibly nice for me, so I just kept punching him. But I kind of just survived a little bit until I got basically until all my mana drained, and then they couldn't hurt me, because Anti-Mage would just right-click me for 50. And then that would get reduced, so it was 30. But I also was reducing his damage, so it was 27 or something. And I can live through that. 27 is not big. I have I start with 4 armor or something like that. And then Rubik, I don't even he doesn't do anything. Yeah. So I was just in my lane, just living it up. And I just kind of was waiting, getting experience. And once I hit level 3, that's when I just then the lane was mine. I owned it. And I could just punch everyone. Actually, no, because I misskilled at 3. I skilled W at 3 because my keyboard is broken and my hand had to shift, and it was... Anyway.
That's unfortunate.
So I skilled W at 3, which was bad, but it was as soon as I hit 3, there was a huge wave of creeps under my tower, so I hit 4 pretty quickly after that. And then you came and rotated when we were both... When I was 4, and we did some good stuff. We got, we just pressured the AM super hard.
Yeah. And he still had decent form, though. He was quite good, as a player, unfortunately, for us.
He was only 100 net worth up on me at 10 minutes, which is, I think that's good as an offlaner.
Yeah.
Considering their Spirit Breaker was 1,400 behind our Phantom Lancer, so I'll say I did pretty well.
Oh, no, you definitely did well.
I did great.
Yeah, it was one of those lanes where you pressured him a lot, but he was still able to farm some compared to some lanes where it's the safe lane can't farm. My experience, so I got first blood mid lane with the Death Prophet. I died for it, but I didn't feed any XP in the tower, and we got first blood gold, so it was totally worth it.
Totes.
And you're level 1, you instantly respawn practically.
Yeah.
After that, I wasn't really able to rotate mid and help at all. As the game progressed, we kind of learned that our Death Prophet was remarkably incompetent.
I think they were the lowest MMR on our team. No, the Sand King was. How did the Sand King get in this game? But yeah, she was pretty low. She was in comparison anyways. And she was going up against the Shadow Fiend, who was their highest, and he was also in a party. So it's 4860 party? So probably, a couple hundred above 5k.
Yeah, probably
party. Yeah. So I would say there was at least a 600 MMR difference between these two people.
It definitely showed.
Very, very much so. Even getting first blood, she died several times in lane, which was very fun for us.
Yeah, so, she also ulted a bunch of neutral creeps, which...
don't DP ulti in the jungle. I know that's not what this episode's about, but that's just a quick tip.
Yeah, unless you have 2 6 stacks to farm, then maybe you'll make your money back, but yeah, that was unfortunate. Also, our team was just tilting at each other, which never helps.
We were very much tilting at each other. That was great.
Yeah,
I think I muted. It was great.
Some pretty quick mutes. Yeah. The PL opted for a blink first, which blink PL is not unheard of, but it has the issue. Well, like we talk about PL a lot on the show in the past like month or so, and the core issue we always run into with PL, right, is that he just doesn't deal damage once you he just doesn't deal damage. Right,
yeah,
like you
need
defusal,
a ton of items to even get to the point where he does acceptable damage.
Exactly, and the blink dagger was really nice for utility, but at the same time, he would just not deal damage. Like, what was it? He dealt 140 damage at the end of the game. Yeah, and there's 2,000 gold invested. That it gave him utility survivability in a sense because it has interesting interactions with what's called doppel walk.
Yeah. No, it's just doppelganger now.
Doppelganger. And so it does get you escapes, but he was just getting punched to death. Like, you don't escape from that. Like, he just was not able to fight the enemy cores.
Yeah, the fight was still there. Like, he would blink away and it's like, all right, we're still going to die. Like, you're out, but we're fucking dead. So, thank you.
Yeah, so without him having any damage, I mean, Death Prophet was, like, too easy to kill. And we had a lot of stuns and we had a lot of utility between you, me, and Sandking. Sandking and I both had pretty well-timed... Well, we both had Blink Daggers that came out at similar times. Yeah, he got his at 21, I got mine at 19. So...
Yeah, that's fine. Like, 20-minute Blink Dagger on a 4 is, like, that's totally acceptable.
Yeah, and they came out at similar times. We had, like, a few decent fights, but then we had some discombobulation where... We got ratted by AM, and then we had a couple fights where like we won them, but we were too like health poor and we couldn't push off it. And then another fight where we were just a bit of a mess. So during the period of the game where we could have secured a advantage, like a big advantage, we floundered and were not able to do so. And then they picked up BKBs on both their cores. Let's see, Shadowfiend got his BKB at 28. And AM got his at 37. So once Shadowfiend and AM both had their BKBs, it was just like, what the heck do we do? Like,
yeah, we didn't really have an answer for it. That's one of the issues with Underlord is if a carry has a BKB, I can't have a conversation with them about it. I just kind of have to like shut my mouth and leave. It's cool to be like, all right, his BKB is about to run out, and then you put a Pit of Malice underneath. And then even if you're off by a second, like it'll still get him probably. So that was fun. But yeah, it was very much like, okay, this kind of sucks. And then, I mean, also Underlord does a ton of magic damage, so AM isn't the best matchup for him. It's just like, I'm used to just I put Q down, and then they melt. They have to leave. They have to not be in my Q. But Anti-Mage doesn't take magic damage, so you didn't really care that much, which was a little disappointing. But everyone else fucking cared. It was good. Love that skill.
And also just like purely comp-wise, as far as core matchups go, unless you're very ahead, Death Prophet PL does not out late game a Shadowfiend AM fundamentally, right?
Yeah, they're just like two very solid heroes, and Death Prophet and PL like need a good like I want to say like a
player
good accent, but no, a good complement, I guess. But like they both, like I want DP with someone that's going to make space for me in the fight so I can just wither them all down. I don't want to be able to get jumped on and, like harangued. And PL also needs someone to like, PL needs a team fight anchor so that he can get into the back lines or, screw with everyone else. AM needs an anchor to like, put the team fight in one specific position that takes the enemy's focus, and then Anti-Mage can blink wherever he wants, kill everyone. And Shadowfiend does that. Shadowfiend sits somewhere, he punches the tower from outside of its range, he can like BKB if he gets gone on, he's just a big boy. And we had, two people that required some sort of chaos to be in the fight, but, they can't both, have their fucking cake and eat it too, so we all just kind of ate shit instead.
Yeah, I think it definitely comes into a game where the enemy team had a very easy access draft once they got into that late game position, right? Like they could just punch at towers, right? And they could farm the entire map. We didn't have like good gank potential just through nature of our cores. Like we didn't have burst damage, right? We had a lot of blink stun initiation from myself and Sandking, but when it came down to it, it doesn't matter how much you stun lock somebody if you don't deal damage, right? It doesn't matter, especially once they have BKBs. It doesn't matter if you go out and try to get a pick off if your PL blinks and attacks somebody, but they deal 140 damage or whatever. So
that's certainly true. As far as like, how we back to the the segment a little bit. So I went the Helm of the Dominator that build because I was doing well in lane, and I knew it wouldn't delay my mech too much, and I knew that we had a Death Prophet we were interested in pushing. And it was good. We were against Shadow Fiend and Shadow Fiend, Anti-Mage, and Ricky and Spirit Breaker. Like there was a lot of right clicking going on. So early on, I had one of those one of the Wildkins, and that was pretty cool. Just like the armor aura for the team was nice. Getting catapults to help push, that sort of thing. That's all good. But the best shit was like the Centaur. I honestly think is like the best thing you can get for Underlord. I mean, I could have gotten the Troll Trap, little troll boy, to help with Anti-Mage through BKB, but I mean that's kind of minor. But anyway, there was like one fight where I was trying to save Sand King or something, and Anti-Mage like blinks on him. I do the Pit of Malice, and Sand King gets away a little bit. And at the end of the Pit of Malice, I do a Centaur Stomp, and then that lasts long enough for the Pit to proc again, and I was just like, oh, yeah, perfect. And the Centaur, I got like, I just like walked back like 2 feet, saw there was a Centaur, and I was like, oh, I know what to do, and I just grabbed him in the mouse, and then he goes, and it was stunned. It was great. So I loved it. I loved that item. And I also right-clicked like a motherfucker with the attack speed. It was great. I was like doing more physical damage than PL. Fuck that guy.
Yeah,
I built an AC.
I had fun in these fights, despite like when we had a few fights. I mean, the fights were pretty much unwinnable. I will say at a certain point in the game where just fundamentally we did not deal damage in an adequate enough fashion. Like they had evasive heroes, they had invisibility, and they had butterflies. They had all these tools that just made them hard to kill. But I felt that Slardar was quite good in this game just through virtue of I was able to, like, Spirit Breaker would try to initiate on somebody, and right when he hits them, I would blink stun. Or right when an Anti-Mage blinks and abyssal somebody, I could blink on them and stun. And my Force Staff works perfectly against Ricky, and since I'm a natural Force Staff builder.
Oh, yeah, for sure, that makes sense.
Slardar is not great against Rubik, since there's a lot of really good things for Rubik to steal, and it's very easy to steal them in general. But that's just playing as Rubik. What are you going to do?
Against Breaker, I hadn't really thought about that. But like Breaker, part of why he's good is because he's he throws his face in there, but he's tanky. But like if you just blink Crush and then he doesn't get his ultimate, and then you also make him take hella damage, you're pretty well off. Like that's good. You're set.
And also, my ult goes through the BKBs of both AM and Shadow Fiend,
which would be super helpful if anyone did damage.
Yeah. So not to be in one of these cliche episodes where we just blame our teammates, but the core issue of this game is essentially we did not have cores that dealt damage, despite having the ability to set up the enemy to take damage, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it was like a very bad situation where, like, as far as solo queue goes, we're probably the higher MMRs because they were all solo, and we were in party. And they kind of got matched up against, the enemy team's 5K or whatever with our, like mid 4K Death Prophet. Like that's gonna go bad no matter which way you slice it. So, I mean, it's not so much anything as like, hey, a skill gap happened and then, the rest happened. But the heroes were good. I liked our heroes together.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so that was fun. I love the Dom. It's really good if you're ahead. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, it definitely proved itself, especially like you were saying, the Centaur interaction with Pit of Malice was super, super cool. I had not thought of that before. Yeah, and like you mentioned in the game, you can TP to your domed creep, which is nice.
Yeah, well, not TP, but use your
use your ult.
Your ultimate. Yeah. As far as I feel like we always forget to go into like builds. Like, okay, so with Slardar, do you do like 1-2-1? Like, do you get a point and bash, or do you just have like a ton? Do you like, because a lot of people do like 4 points sprint, 4 points stun, and then get bashed like last, like after everything is maxed.
I got bashed last. Everything is maxed. I have in other games gotten 1 point bash, but I find, let's see, how much value is 1 point bash? It's only a 10% chance. Yeah. So I find that I just don't want to bother. Like in this game, I went crush, sprint, crush, sprint, alt, crush, sprint. So
wait, you had 3 points in sprint before 3 in crush?
Yeah, I don't know why I did that. In the game, I had some idea behind it.
Maybe it's a misclick or something, or whatever. I mean, they're both good skills, like whatever.
Yeah, I mean, my mentality most of the time was I was not worried about the damage output in the early game when we had all the spell damage and physical damage from Death Prophet. Like, we were convincingly winning a few fights, like, just and out damaging them with Death
early
Prophet.
game with my Helm of the Dominator, it was a cinch.
Yeah, and so my primary thing was just getting on top of people, and like the Shadow Fiend had a Yasha, and AM is super evasive. So my mindset was mostly just on I want to get even that extra 8% of move speed just to get on top of somebody and jam on them.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, the 0.5 or the 0.25 stun duration difference isn't the biggest difference in the world.
Yeah.
Especially because it has a 2-second slow after the stun as well, and that's the same at all levels.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't get any points in Bash until later. If I was playing like obviously if I was playing core Slardar, I would get it just because you have attack speed. But in most fights, I was only hitting people like twice. Like I very rarely was ever hitting people because I had to be so evasive and I had to be moving in and out of fights. Like I didn't have time to just sit on somebody and deal damage.
And that's a symptom of being behind as the game went on.
Yeah, itemization. I just went, let's see, I started with boots because the Sand King bought basically all the things. I bought boots, one ward, tango. Then I bought a clarity and got it as soon as possible. After that, I bought windlace, finished tranquil boots. Then I bought another windlace, magic stick, blink dagger, force staff.
Okay, so
and
like
then I was building a halberd.
Very little tiny items, just like straight up. All right, I got my tranquils and my second windlace, get a stick, and I'm good.
Yeah, if I hadn't had to carry dust around and wards around, I probably would have liked to have something else, but I was constantly switching things out of my inventory already.
Yeah, no, same here.
Yeah, so if there was no invis on the enemy team, I likely would have picked up, I probably would have finished wand, and I may have picked up like even just a blightstone or like a raindrop casually. They didn't really have magic damage that was killing me.
If they didn't have like the comp, if it was a regular ass game, maybe a raindrop.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I was going for the halberd last just because they had 2 physical damage cores, but I never ended up finishing it because I needed to save for buyback. So I only had the Talisman of Evasion. You know, I was gonna go BKB initially, but I ended up being of the mindset that if I'm dying, the fight's over. Like, you know, if I'm needing a BKB to live, the
game's already kind of lost.
Yeah, we're just done for. So I'd rather have a halberd to save one of my teammates.
Yeah, and halberd also persists through BKB, so it kind of solves our like we have no answer to BKB thing. Like we can cut off a few seconds of duration. If like anti-mage blinks and stuns, then halberds before you BKBs, like okay, we can work with that. But if it's like anti-mage blinks in and stuns, and then you BKB, it's not really gonna matter.
Exactly, and they had like BKB piercing stuff where they had Spirit Breaker, and they had AM had an Abyssal Blade. Like,
yeah. No, I think that makes sense.
So yeah, I mean that was my game. Talent wise, so I had actually had some. I didn't talk about talents in the previous thing. I went for 175 mana at 10. I was very on the fence, but I figured I almost never pick up mana talents.
Yeah,
but I had tranquils.
Where it's at.
I had tranquils, so I was like, I don't need the health regen.
Everyone always has tranquils. It's still where it's at.
Yeah, I pick it.
You farm.
It's nice for farm, I know, but I didn't have time to farm, and when I was farming, I was farming creep waves.
Yeah, it's whatever. I just feel like I never really need the mana, but I normally finish wand on Slardar, I think.
See, I like the mana because we had quite a few long drawn out fights, and that's where because I wasn't farming well, so I didn't have an early force staff. If I had better farming, I was gonna have an early force staff that would have compensated for my need for mana. Okay. But yeah, I was very on the fence. If like in the VOD, I sat there for like 20 seconds just like scrolling between the two.
No, I mean, I think like I always get a health regen, but I think that totally makes sense as a modification to what you do. Like, okay, the game's going to shit. I'm never gonna have a bigger mana pool, and there's an anti-mage burning mana and shit. Like I need mana. I think that's cool. The other thing with the health regen, like similar to you're like skirting in and out in these long fights. If you are like going back and forth and tranquils plus the health regen, like you basically have a tiny heart, which is very cool. But I mean your point is totally valid. That makes a lot of sense. That's good thinking.
Yeah, and at 15, I went for 225 health over attack speed. I feel like that's just a pretty linear, I'm not a core, so I don't need attack speed. 20, I went for armor over damage. Again, same equation.
Once again.
Yep.
Like, who gets 35 damage at level 20? Jesus, everyone gets 40. Everyone. Literally every hero gets 40 damage at level 20. And Slardar is just like, fuck
Can't do it. Can't afford it.
You worthless ass fish hero. Like, no.
Yep. And at 25, I would have gone for strength instead of bash chance. I probably would go strength regardless. What does his bash chance scale up to?
It goes up to
25, so it'd be 35.
Dope. That's good, man.
Yeah, it would be good. But you get so much attack speed. I guess so. Yeah, bash chance is probably legit. And it's actually a big damage boost because it's 120 damage per bash.
What do you get?
Like an AC. You build a armlet.
I'm saying as a...
Oh, never as a support. I would never go bash chance as a support unless I had an Echo Saber as a support.
You're fucking boring.
Yeah, I mean, I am, but
I love it, man. Bash chance every day.
Yeah, maybe you go bash chance, especially against an AM. It's BKB piercing. That's
35%,
fair.
Man. That's good.
I think the difference is I would go bash chance if I can have a presence in fights and really be
if
in the middle of stuff.
If we weren't getting totally destroyed, I totally agree. Yeah, and if you had if you had your halberd in BKB and you're like, okay, 20 strength isn't the end all be all of my survivability this game.
Yeah.
It's whether or not I bash this dude, and then you're happy.
No, that makes sense.
But I mean, I agree. Like 20 strength definitely would have been the thing to go. But I'm just saying, just because it's fun doesn't mean it's bad. It can be fun and good.
I think a convincing case could be made for the bash chance. That's for sure.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm glad this little discourse has come to an agreement.
But yeah, so that's Slardar as far as I'm concerned. It was not an ideal game, but it was a good Slardar game regardless.
All right. I'll give my little piece about Underoos. So we already talked about the starting items, and one of the cool things I like about going Dom, which is very similar to what's that item called? Mechanism, is that you can get the Ring of Regen and Lane. So normally, I have all the regen items in the world, and then I get I get my mana boots early, and then I just keep spamming out the wave, and then the support can't really help the anti-mage because it's just or whatever carry it is, because it's I'm not taking the waves, I'm just I nuke it down, and then it's done, and then the support's I have nothing to do, the wave's gone. But this game, since I had no mana, and I had no mana, so I just got a Ring of Regen early, and that way I could just continually trade with some extra health regen, and I was almost out of tangos too, and that was great. I just stayed in lane, regenerated health, and just kept punching. And if I got mana boots, I would have had mana to get removed, and I didn't, so it was good. I went from there, and I got the stick afterwards because I wanted more regen, and I wanted to have burst mana because I don't want it for AM to strip me of it, but I do want it when I need it. So it's a nice little mana bank that he couldn't burn from me. And then after that, I got the mana boots. It was as soon as I got strong enough, I had 3 or 4 points in my queue, that I could just keep burning down waves, and I had my mana boots. I had a clarity shipped out to me at the same time, and I went from a no mana usage hero to now I just use all the mana in the world because my mana boots can support it once a wave or whatever. And that was cool. And I just went from there into that, into Dom, into Mech, and from Mech to I think just kind of straight Greaves. I had my stick I never really upgraded, and I had Dust as well, so there was kind of a slot that was used for that. And that was just kind of it. Once I had my Greaves, I managed to slip my my Poor Man's Shield back in there, and that was kind of it. I was gonna go for a Shiva's last, but DP was gonna build a Shiva's, and I skilled the 60 attack speed because the game was that bad. And I felt like I had to right-click carry at that point. Yeah. And DP had a Shiva's. There wasn't really a great reason to go Lotus Orb, so I built an AC. Don't recommend ever doing that, but if you have a situation where you are right-clicking more than your carry, maybe. Armor Auras are good. I don't know. I think it was fine.
Yeah, no, I think it was fine. Plus, we had a Shiva's coming out theoretically from the Death Prophet.
And so I needed an armor item, and I didn't want to just build a halberd and just not have a lot of armor. So yeah, I think the AC was fine, but it was definitely not ideal. I would much rather have built the Shivas. It would have come out faster too. So that was kind of that. As far as talents go, I got the armor because you look at Underlord, you're oh man, 2 mana of regen, 2 all mana. It's all mana. It sounds great. But I mean, your mana boots, you got mana boots, you're fine. Buy 2 clarities, and you'll never need mana again for the rest of your life. You're fine. And 5 armor, you need that. You're a big boy. Big boys need armor. That's a fact. You can quote me on that. And then for the next talent, I got the Spell Lamp. you do a lot of damage with Firestorm, so I like the spell amplification. It's 12%. That's a pretty good percentage. 40 move speed is like, it's okay too. Like maybe because we were against anti-mage and stuff, I shouldn't have got the spell amp. Maybe an argument could be made for that, but like at no point in this game was I like, damn, if only I had 40 move speed, everything would be different. It's like, okay, did I kill the Ricky before he got away? No, then this fucking sucks. If I do, then I'm very happy I got 12% spell amp. Level 20, I always get cast range. This game I got attack speed because the game was fucking awful. And then at 25, I think Pit of Malice Root is just better. But if you are an unstoppable monster of a machine and you don't really need a bunch of roots, I guess 50 health regen's okay. They're both so fucking good, honestly. Like those crazy health regen talents people get at level 25, like Sand King has one too, where it's like anytime you get away from a fight, you're just full health again immediately. God, that shit's so fucking good. How much is Sand King's? His is also 50.
Yeah, it's 50.
Fucking great. I think Bristle has one too. I'm just gonna waste all our time looking up fucking talents. What does Bristle have? 30 health regen at 25, but the other option is 25 cool stack damage, and that's less than 50. It's almost 21 less than 50.
Yeah, Kunkka has 15 at 10, I think.
Yeah, that's pretty good, but yeah, it's not like... Wait, 15 at 10? That's wild.
Yeah, it's for the armlet.
That's cool.
Let me check it.
That's cool.
Oh, it's
I
15
like it,
at 15.
Okay. Yeah, versus 30 move speed. Yeah, you always get that health regen.
Yeah.
Then. Okay.
Yeah, almost
15
always.
At level 10, I'd be like, Slardar would be very sad.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I virtually always choose health regen on core Kunkka. I mean, just on Kunkka in general.
Yeah.
I feel like 15 is like a break point. Like regen-wise, I feel like 10 or less is like, okay, it's good like utility, like Terrorblade's talent, like it's a farming talent. But anything above 10 is like in a fight, it actually accumulates.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's like every second the fight goes on, you almost have another strength.
It's like you're popping a wand every second. Like just constantly popping it every time you get a charge.
That's a hilarious way to think of it, honestly.
Except you get no mana, so it's like a bad version of wand.
It's like a really bad wand. It's like you have two tangos going. That's not possible. Anyway, I mean that's Underlord. Like you get mana boots and mech and greaves, and you can get like one item before mech, and sometimes it's blade mail. It's really similar to Doom, honestly. Like sometimes it's blade mail, sometimes it's Dom, sometimes it's Vlad's, and I really like Dom here. Some people go Radiance on Underlord. I think he got better shit to do, honestly. Like, I like the idea of being a big boy who has Radiance, but, like, you got other things to do with your life.
Yeah.
Like, an Atos is cool, because then they're... Like, you already make Radiance happen with your Q. If they walk out of your Q... Like, you could either choose to make them stay in your Q, or you could have a Radiance, and both do the same shit. I'd rather you just stay in my Q.
Yeah, the Radiance is kind of like...
fucking Radiance.
I feel like the Radiance is one of those, like, oppressive things... Where it's just like, oh my god, how do I fight into these guys? I'm constantly taking 60 burn damage from Radiance, and then all the burn damage from the from Rain of Fire, and then all the extra damage. It's like just daunting.
It converts like an absurdly strong lead into
insurmountable lead
into gold that is always going to like create value in the fight or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. Like if you spend it all on like on an Atos or something, and then there's nothing to really Atos, or your whole team is just like...
Yeah, like they have Manta.
Like someone Mantas it, and you're just like, well... Or yeah, they have like Juggernaut or Manta or whatever, and then people die before you use it. You're like, fuck, whatever. But if you have a Radiance, like, Radiance is going to do things. It's an aura around you, you know? You get a Blade Mail, and then you get stunned before you Blade Mail, like I always do. Or I just forget the Blade Mail, but either way. But yeah, that's Underboy.
Yeah, that's the combo.
That's it.
Good combo, definitely.
Yeah,
it's
good.
Doesn't work every game, but nothing works every game, right? That's just Dota.
Yeah, no, you're right. Necro kind of does.
Yeah, Necro kind of does. That's for sure. And Spiritbreaker also. Spiritbreaker always works, even if you play him as a weird offlane, and then you just kind of figure your way into success. I think I actually just suck at Spiritbreaker. I think I'm just bad at Spiritbreaker. I'm terrible at Spiritbreakers too, but he's just like I'm not good at those divey committal heroes. But I love him on my team. That's for sure.
I'm good at Slardar, not Spiritbreaker.
I honestly would be content if there was a Spiritbreaker on my team every single game.
Oh, yeah.
Largely just because it would mean there was no Spiritbreaker on the enemy team. But I would be more than happy if just every game I played, somebody just like insisted on first picking Spiritbreaker.
All right, we got to go through roles now. But not like make a team, but like what's an offlaner you would always like on your team?
In offlaner, I'd always Earthshaker.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
Yeah.
I mean, Spiritbreaker kind of is too. What about mid?
A mid I'd always like on my team.
You can't say Necro or Veno.
No, I won't. I wouldn't say either of those. I won't say Viper either. That's pretty cheating.
Yeah.
If we're assuming like mediocrity, like thorough mediocrity in all
like,
play,
yeah, like they're fine, but not.
Yeah, like they're not
special.
bad, but they're not good. I would say, what mid would I like on my team?
I want to say Lena.
I feel like Lena's
Lena always
okay.
gets
Like
shit done.
an okay TA. No, I feel like TA you need to be good.
TA
to
is
play.
awful. Like any person who picks TA who isn't the highest MMR in the game and didn't last pick it, always
they just tend to feed. Like Zeus. I'm pretty happy whenever I have a Zeus on my team.
Zeus is a good one.
Sometimes it's just utter garbage team comp wise, like our game last week. But in general, if like a Zeus is decent and it's not a terrible Zeus game, I'm pretty happy with that.
It's a great win rate.
A mediocre OD is also pretty fine. I think Lean is a good choice though.
Yeah, you can just get into late game and you have an OD, and you're like, all right, cool. Like they're gonna die to pure damage. All right, what about carry?
Ooh, I feel like Juggernaut's the easy answer.
That's a tough one. Yeah, but everyone who like a lot of people who play Jug are just like, I'm gonna bring them back with the sword.
For some reason, I
like horrendous.
I feel like people, when people do like unnecessary innovation, I feel like Jug is the victim of that. In a large part. People are like, oh man, like I mean, even me, like I'm like, oh, I want to do drums Jug and stuff like that. Like I do much more minor things.
Yeah,
but
so
I
just get Aquila and a wand and fucking calm down.
Yeah, and I see like. I don't see people try to innovate on like anti-mage because they're like, I'm playing this here. I need to do like what this here does. Jug has a static build that's really good, but
fucking innovates on that hero, and I try to copy it. It does not work.
Yeah, I've had a good time like innovating on anti-mage, but definitely not to great success. I'll say that much. If safe lane, I feel like Terrorblade. I'm also pretty down to have a Terrorblade on my team every game.
Terrorblade is great. I love that boy.
Yeah, as long as there's not an OD on the enemy team, I'm pretty content to have a Terrorblade on my team. Juggernaut's the easy answer, though. Wraith King is also alright, barring, obviously, a situation where he's against, like, a PL or an AM.
Okay, I can accept that one. Alright, 5, the last one.
Rubik. That's the safest.
Okay. If someone picks Rubik, then yes. I wouldn't want to just put, like, someone is a random 5, and I'm like, oh, play Rubik.
That's true.
If you want to play Rubik, that's on you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you to.
The safer answer, I'd say, is Disruptor, except recently I've had a lot of bad Disruptors.
Well, like a bad glimpse is like, what are you doing?
Yeah. As long as I have a decent Disruptor, I'm over the moon.
I'm happy with Shadow Shaman.
Oh, yeah, dude. Shadow Shaman's really the best. Yeah. Shadow Shaman's definitely the right answer.
Shadow Shaman and Jakiro. But those are just like, okay, the best 2 5s in the game. Wow, super creative.
Yeah.
All right. That's good. I'm glad we got through that.
That was a good question, actually. I'd never thought of that.
I agree. I like that. For carry, I keep wanting to say Sven, but like...
Oh, yeah, I'd say Sven.
Fuck up Sven.
Yeah, I feel like I see a lot of bad Svens that also... I wouldn't say people try to innovate on Sven. People have antiquated builds on Sven, and they play him so infrequently. They're like, oh, I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to build, like, HOD or something.
Yeah, I see so many Svens of S and Y. I'm like, buddy, like...
Mom, and then Echo Saber, and then
it's like when someone's wearing some clothes or something, and then like some fucking teen drama, they're like, ugh, that's so last season. And it's like that's every Sven. It's like your builds are last season. Yeah. Don't you know, you tacky fuck?
Yeah, and then all right. So plugs are actually important today because we have new plugs. We don't have a lot of new plugs though because a lot of the stuff is still in flux, so to speak. The most important thing is to remember you don't need to change feeds or anything. All our content is still going to be on the .p feeds you already are subscribed to, listen to, etc. Unless you listen through YouTube, the YouTube will likely be a different YouTube channel, but that needs to be finalized. The finalized stuff that I can tell you is if you have feedback for us or if you have shows that you want, because again, we're still workshopping some new shows. We're changing Teach Me Tuesday a bit. You can reach us at show@fourthspirit.com. I, of course, on Twitter, I'm at Ursinity. We're at Proud Dota is you. We're going to be switching the .p Twitter over to the Fourth Spirit Twitter. So if you're subscribed or if you're following the .p Twitter, you're already following the Fourth Spirit Twitter. We also have a Fourth Spirit Twitter as a placeholder right now. But yeah, again, everything is kind of in flux and complicated. And our website is fourthspirit.com. It's nice. It's simple. We like it. There's no nonsense.
Much shorter than Defense of the Patience.
Yeah. Also, because we didn't mention it, it's fourth spelled out FOURTH, not number 4TH spirit. So yeah, just in case anybody was confused.
Yeah.
So yeah, I probably missed something, but you'll be hearing way more about this in the coming weeks.
I don't think so. I think are we transferring the Twitch page too?
No, we have twitch.tv/fourthspirit. I don't think we're bothering.
Have we even made that yet? If someone sniped that from us. Okay, I was like,
nobody sniped anything from us. Migs was joking about that, but no, we've not sniped anything.
We've threatened enough people to get him to stop joking about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think B-Dub made it. God bless B-Dub. She does all the hard work.
You were going to say, I think B-Dub threatened him. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, we're being rebranded under duress of B-Dub. Yeah, come see our new logo at the very least. Like, go to Twitter or the YouTube or whatever. The new logo is amazing. B-Dub's a god.
I love it. All right. I love ghosts. I'm glad that I get my own little fucking spooky goth logo. It's great.
Yeah, and I like that it's cute and not like, it's great. I'm thrilled. So join us on our rebranding, everybody. I can't wait. So if you lose, well, just blame your freaking Blink Dagger PL or your neutral creep ulting Death Prophet, please.
Yeah. Fuck.